impact. Likewise, Nigerian breweries and also the likes of the Nestle Foods, when the loss in that particular stock is very high. Like we saw on the day that it lost 45 naira, it definitely impacted negatively on the market. And so it's been like that for now. And I think with more listing on the market, we definitely will get better results.
Okay. What happened to the banks? You said that the banks' dominance on the market has long gone. What happened to them?
No, what I said about the market is about the banking sector stocks. I said before now, the banking sector stocks used to dominate the market capitalization. They were responsible for over 40% at the time. But thereafter, we saw a shift whereby the consumer goods and industrial goods are taking the lead. And that is exactly what we are seeing presently now.
So we're seeing a shift in the appetite of actually investors in that regard. We're seeing the shift in appetite could be responsible for that, I want to believe.
Well, not really in that sense. Although maybe in recent time we've seen a situation whereby the appetite for banking sector stocks have really gone down, and because of the so much uncertainty that pervades the market, we saw the CRR impacting negatively on the market and a host of other regulatory policies, and I think that has really affected it. But all in all, I think the shares in consumer goods and industrial goods have really taken the lead.
Okay, I want us to look at the compliance of quoted companies to the International Financial System, the IFRS. How has that impacted on the financials? I understand that some of these companies are filing the reports later than expected.
Yes, that is very correct. Up till now, we are in the month of November, having just a month to go for the year 2013. There are still a lot of companies that have not turned in their results. And maybe when I was talking with listing and regulations department of the Nigerian Stock Exchange last week, I was told that they were giving the reason of the IFRS conversion. That for them to come from GAAP to IFRS, that's giving them a lot of trouble. And that has been basically the reason why they have not turned in their results. So I think for a lot of companies, they are having so much challenges, and which has really hindered them from actually presenting their financials to the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
Is that going to have any impact on the shares on the bourse?
Well, I think the market is driven by information. When there is no adequate information, the market, whatever stocks that is not giving the market adequate information, then that stock is definitely going to stagnate in price, or even investors may begin to dump them. And we have really seen that happening in a lot of stocks that have not really turned in their results. Is it that there is no bargain for those stocks, or the price continually goes down? And we've seen that quite well in some securities.
Okay, now let's not talk about the companies involved in the privatization in the power sector. Of course, I understand Transco Nigeria and 40 Oil. Could you tell us how these companies are faring on the local bourse now?
Well, I think for the likes of Transco, it's gained over 400%. For 40 Oil, it's gained over 1,143% in a period of about 52 weeks. And I think much of this gain came for 40 Oil prior to the time that news came around that they have won the bid for the Gedegu power plant. And that alone has really impacted positively, coupled with the fact that their profit after tax has really gained a good leap. And basically for information coming, we have that about 5 billion naira is going to be added to the bottom line of 40 Oil PLC by the time we enter into the year 2014. So coupled with how well they are doing now, plus what we're going to get when they have really stabilized concerning the Gedegu power plant, then definitely the sky is the limit for 40 Oil PLC. And I believe basically that Transcorp PLC, they have not given us an idea of what this figure is going to look like with the operations of the power plant that they acquired. And I think by the time we have these figures, it's definitely going to explain the reason why investors should buy more of these shares and why they should also retain what they already have.
What other fundamentals are driving these stocks? Because you mentioned that 40 Oil jumped over 1,000% after it took over one of the plants in generating plants in Nigeria. Apart from that information, what are the fundamentals driving the performance of these stocks?
Well, I think two things to note here. When you look at some of the stocks in the petroleum marketing sectors, I think all of them are, majority of them are having their total shares in issue at about 1 billion naira. And Forte Oil falls in this category. And secondly, for the fact that over the years, they have not paid dividends. And this time around, the group chief executive officer of Forte Oil had already given his word that by the time we conclude this financial year, they're definitely going to pay a very robust dividend that is going to delight investors. And I think this is the reason why a lot of investors have really put their money into it, and more so for the future of the company. At least they are in two sectors of the economy that are very viable, and this still has a wide room to grow in terms of turnover, in terms of profitability. And I think with the provision of the power sector and Forte Oil being in that particular group of the companies that took over some of the power generating plants, I think basically there is so much ahead for this company and also Transcorp.
All right, thank you, Rotimi Fakeja. To let you go, I've been talking to Rotimi Fakeja, the CEO at Enterprise Stockbroking Firm, giving us insight into what happened last week. Of course, the latest information is that there's been a jump in the performance of stocks like Forte Oil and Transcorp Nigeria. Of course, these two companies took over some of the generating companies in Nigeria when the companies were finally handed over by the government to the new private sector players. And so these two companies are actually pulling some weight on the market as we speak. We hope to get updates from Rotimi later on in the day. Of course, give you such updates tomorrow on the program. We'll go on a break now, and when we come back, we'll go into the newsroom. Of course, Jackie Regis is standing by to give us some of the headlines making the rounds. Please join us again. Almost 20 minutes past the hour of 10, and Jackie Rogers is here with us to give us some of this latest news. Of course, topping that is the Anambra's election that has been declared inconclusive by INEC. Good morning, Jackie.
Good morning.
Good to have you here.
Glad to be here. Well, as you said, exactly, there's been a dramatic twist at the conclusion of the elections in Anambra State, the governorship elections there, after the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, declared the result of the poll inconclusive. The INEC Chief Returning Officer in Anambra, Professor James Epoke, explained that the decision is owing to the fact that the number of cancelled votes is more than the difference between the number of votes polled by the winner and the runner-up. Supplementary polls are to hold where elections were earlier cancelled. Professor Epoke has given the figure earlier of 113,113 as the total number of votes cancelled. In the results earlier announced by INEC at the end of the collation, the ABGA candidate, Mr. Willie Obiano, had scored 174,710 votes, while Mr. Tony Woyi of the PDP polled 94,356 votes, and the All Progressives Congress candidate, Dr. Chris Ngige, polled 92,356 votes. Naturally, different shades of reactions immediately trailed INEC